Some of us are failing in purpose because our egos are too big.
Hard pill to swallow time. Grab your water. Some of your purposes
Stop it.
is to serve someone else.
Some of you feel like, oh, this is existing outside of my purpose, or like I feel unfulfilled, or I feel lost. You're not lost. You're just executing incorrectly. Or this business is not working out. This side hustle that I have, you're not executing correctly.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Renee.
And I'm Courtney, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
Now, we are all about promoting the wellness, growth, and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about purpose. We've actually spoken about it before. We spoke about it in season 1. So for all the girls who are on YouTube who, saw us on YouTube, there are episodes that you've missed out on. So go and hop onto podcast platforms and listen to it. But this is one of the early episodes that we did when we were recording in my bedroom.
Back in the day.
And whilst this is an OG topic, we thought we would actually do a continuation of its precursor and talk about it in a slightly different way. So we're going to be sharing the biggest lessons that we have been learning as we have been living more intentionally this year. So we hope our life lessons and our discoveries, as well as our stories, actually help you discover what is important about pursuing purpose. But before we get into it, sisters, you already know the deal. Same schedule as always. Sister ding.
Dilemma.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Hi, sisters.
Hey.
First off, I love you ladies and your platform. It has helped me so
too.
much already. I'm a 22-year-old woman from the United States.
Well, howdy.
We love our American sisters. Thank you so much for supporting us, man. I just graduated from university this past May and I am stuck. I moved to a new city and started my job as a teacher. Teaching has been one of my passions and I enjoyed my degree program at school. However, this job sucks.
Oh,
The school that I am in. The school that I am in is very unorganized and not beneficial for my growth. I've decided that I want to leave, but I don't know where I am going to go. I am struggling to figure out if I need to try a different school or a different career or go back to school. I thoroughly enjoy content creation and I even started my own YouTube channel and blog. I have aspirations of world traveling and being an author, but I have yet to fully commit or follow through with any of these things. I feel like I start things that I want to do, but I finish none of them because they aren't what I went to school for. Other people might question it, and above all, I don't know if I can do it. This discontent has spilled over into most areas of my life. I find it hard to explore my new city, make friends, or even enjoy the fact that I was able to move out on my own. My family is very supportive of me in whatever I do, and I have done well in saving and tracking my finances. So thankfully, I'll always have a place to live and be safe. This is more so a personal perception issue. Girl, I'm scared. Period. That's what she wrote. Period. I don't want to look back and regret because I didn't take the risk or reach for my dreams.
Yeah.
I am young, not yet married, and not yet a mother. I know this is the best time to restart. I just don't know how to make the leap. Your advice would be deeply appreciated. Thanks again for doing the work you were doing. It is changing the lives of many and helping us all build positive and healthy sisterhood.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Such a lovely email.
That was
Thank you.
That's really made my day. That's a firecracker, I tell
Thank
ya.
you, sis. But sis is in need of help.
Yeah, sis is in need of
She's
help.
discontent.
First of all, I'll say that what you're feeling is actually quite normal. I think sometimes we feel that this is something that's very much exclusive to us. This whole feeling of discontent or feeling like, you want to do more, you want more from life. So I think, first of all, understanding that this is normal, particularly for your age and like coming out of university, really trying to find your feet. This is the normal time for you to be doing all of that.
100.
Hub up, right? And I think we also need to contend with the wider context of many of us in that age bracket are no longer finding fulfillment in, the traditional tropes of before, right? Traditionally, it was, find a job or find a very conventional vocational career path. Yeah. Work your way up, get the house, get the car, family. Bob is your uncle.
Yeah, man, the American dream.
And, Jared is your cousin twice removed. And that was pretty much the American dream. Now I think we're in a space where, because we're being exposed to so many different things, so many different passions, so many different things we didn't think were possible in generations before, we're now at this really weird place where it's like, oh, I'm going to try and, fit into the conventional narrative and see if it works for me. But I know there's something else I actually want to do.
Yeah.
And in your particular case, with you outlining what you have as privileges, actually, the fact that you do have, a house to come back to, you do have a family, you do have finances to, fall back on if anything were to go wrong. If your rock bottom or your worst case scenario looks like you living at home or, working in a job that you may not like or may not actually fit specifically with like your, university course, you're in a place of privilege. Now is the time to take risks, because being able to fall back on that, many people would love to be in the position whereby they have a plan B.
Yeah.
You have an actual plan B, and it seems as though whilst it feels like you can't really complete anything, or it feels like you're going through the motions and like this doesn't really work out for you, knowing that you can actually come back to it if everything else fails is actually a privilege. So this might sound really wacky, but as somebody who's also in the business of like going for it right now in my own life and making that decision as well a couple of years ago, if you have the opportunity and the means, go for it. Explore, do your thing. And if you fail, but at least you have things to fall back on.
Yeah.
Go for it. Now is the time to really explore and really figure out what it is that you want to do. Maybe it might not work in the first few weeks or months or whatever, but being consistent at something you actually love is actually quite different than being consistent at something that you hate. Yeah. And I think that with the stakes being quite low for you, you have nothing to lose by pursuing your passion in this time. 100%. Obviously take some time and, set up a practical plan. Don't just be, I quit. I'm going to pursue my passion. I'm going to do whatever I want. You can't actually do that.
Yeah.
What I would say is make a plan. Exactly. Make a very practical plan. How are you going to get from A to B? What does B look like? What does A look like? What is your starting position? Where do you want to go? Define the key timelines. Define the kind of roles that actually fit your skills as well. I think sometimes it can be so difficult to take the risk because we haven't actually accounted for what it is we want to be.
Yeah.
We know, these are the things I like, but it's like, okay, cool. What do you want to do with that? Right? So you like content creation. Do you want to be a content creator? What kind of content creator? Do you want to be a podcaster? Do you want to be you mentioned YouTube channel. Do you want to be a vlogger? What kind of YouTuber do you want to be? Right? Making very, very intentional decisions about the risk that you're going to take will make you feel more comfortable taking the risk. And we've mentioned this book before and this whole idea of, having skin in the game. Now's the time to put skin in the game. Now's the time to actually step your foot out, take the risk. As you mentioned before, it feels almost as though this dilemma, sis, you answered your own question insofar as you're not a mother. You don't have the same responsibilities as someone who may be a bit further down in their career. Yeah. Even then, there's a lot of people who still take the risk at that point.
Big time.
You're in a very privileged position. Yeah. I would say go for it.
Go for it. That is it. Make the leap. I think that the issue here is you're scared.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're scared. You need to let the fear of having any regrets be way more and be your actual driving force more than the fear of potential failure or the fear of, like you said, what will people say? This is not what I studied. So
yeah,
I'm not working in what I studied in. You're not working in, well, you are kind of, but not really. Peripheral. But like, this is the story of so many people. You go to uni, you study something, and you don't end up in that job. That is very much so normal. It doesn't make your degree a waste of time or money. It actually your degree has prepared you for where you are now. It has set you up, and now you're about to make another step. And everything has been setting you up to make this step. Yeah. You just have to make the step. You're the only one holding yourself back at this point. And if you have regrets, you'll have no one else to blame it on. And you're not living life for anyone else. We literally released a TMS Plus a couple of weeks ago about being unfulfilled. And the main reason was you're probably scared. And secondly, you're probably living for other people's opinions. You can't let those two things rule your life. You have to decide for yourself, this is how I want to live my life. These are my convictions. These are my passions, like Renee so well put. And that's what I want to pursue right now. You are at the best time. I'm telling you, sis, there is not going to be a time more prime than this. it's not going to get easier
At
to
all.
make this decision.
At all.
This is the easiest time for you to make this decision, to actually take that leap and explore what is in that kind of unknown territory. But I also think what's so beautiful is you're jumping into something, especially if you are trying to pursue content creation, where there are so many more case studies now versus maybe 10 years ago surrounding the success of content creation.
Yeah.
So you actually have examples and blueprints to follow, as well as loads of resources that you can go to in order to make your career actually successful and your self-employment successful. You're not really shooting in the dark anymore. There is so much content and people out there to help bring light to maybe some of the hesitations that you have. I saw a quote this morning about the only reason why you would ever really be scared is because you know you haven't adequately prepared. And I think that it's really important for you to now prepare yourself to make that shift.
Yeah.
Don't just jump into the unknown. Actually try your best to get to know the environment that you're trying to jump into. And I think with content creation, with self-employment, with the digital world, there is so much information out there now for you to best prepare yourself to jump into this environment that why are you scared? Of course, there's the element of the unknown. Will this be successful? Blah, blah, blah. But try, actually just try, and there's more of a chance for it to be successful now than it was a couple years ago.
Absolutely.
So sis, you just have to try here. No one else is going to be able to do this for you or make this choice for you. If you don't do it, I'm sure you'll be successful, but will you be happy? I don't know. That's the be all and end all. Yes, you could move to another school. I think with you feeling not happy at the school you're currently at, you can move to another school and maybe try being consistent at YouTube and content creation, because the unfulfillment may be because the school you're at, like you said, is trash. So if you want to move for a little bit, maybe give yourself 6 months buffer, work at another school, see if you like it. If you like it and it kind of revives your love for teaching, if you had a love for teaching in the first place, then stay and do your creative projects on the side till you decide what your next step will be. But if you actually want a radical shift, you got to make a radical choice, and people may not be approving of it, but it's not their life and it's your life. So take the reins and do the hard thing, sis, and reap those benefits and those rewards. And
don't forget, you need to be consistent at this one. If you're not consistent, if you make the leap and you're not consistent, then it's more indicative of a you problem as opposed to you're not this isn't fitting for me, because we can procrastinate and we can say, the environment, or I don't like this job or whatever. Sometimes you got to stick to doing the hard thing. It's about choosing your hard and what hard is worthwhile. One of my favorite quotes of all time, I think it was made by JFK, and it was, "We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Pick your hard."
Yeah, pick your hard. Wow. Well, sis,
we wish you well, though. We want to see you thriving and
100%,
shining and everything. It'll be amazing. Regardless of what happens, it will be amazing to just see and be a part of that process of you just becoming better and really diving into something you care about and you love. And it's a scary thing, but it's such a fulfilling thing. And I hope it works out for you. Genuinely.
Yeah, man. Keep us updated, actually. Send us emails and stuff.
Follow-up email
if you need any help, jump in our inboxes. We will be happy to help you make any transition that you are. But sis, we hope that this has answered your dilemma. Yeah. If you actually want to send us a dilemma, you can email us at hello@tomysisters.com. Or better yet still, for a quicker response, you can go to our website, tomysisters.com, and fill in the contact form. But yeah, send us your dilemmas. Why not?
And with the dilemmas, ladies, I know that some of you are great storytellers. We love a good story. But if we could keep them brief, it means that we can get to them more quickly.
Yeah, that's very true.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, into today's episode.
Yes.
Talking about purpose.
Come on.
Yes.
For a second, I thought you said talking about Pyrenees. I was like, I like Pyrenees, but I don't think that's what we're talking about today, is it? You can see where my man's at today, isn't it?
Pyrenees is great, man. Have you had the garlic one? Yeah, you have.
I love the garlic one. Oh my goodness.
Shout out to Nando's, sponsor the podcast. So
I could do with a cheeky Nando's. I'm telling you, I could do. Anyway.
Always. But yes, purpose. Yeah. Purpose. So myself and you, Renee.
Yeah.
Or you and I.
You and I and you.
I and you have been on a journey of truly glowing and growing and really putting ourselves in uncomfortable, I would say uncomfortable.
Oh, very highly.
Uncomfortable.
Excruciating.
Uncomfortable situations. I guess very similar to what Sis was describing in the dilemma. I think what made me resonate so much with that dilemma is that was kind of the position we were in, like post-uni, post-masters, like post-degree. We were like, this is the traditional route. But this is what I think I want to do. The road less traveled. I'm scared. And I think we've had to encourage each other. And one of the things that constantly comes up in our encouragement of each other is this concept of purpose and whether this is actually your life's path and what it is that you want to do. So I guess for anyone who doesn't understand like purpose, even though it's a word that kind of is thrown around a lot, give us a quick definition of purpose and then we'll jump into our three biggest lessons that we've learned.
What is purpose?
What is
purpose?
it?
Purpose is, first of all, purpose is annoying because semantics, right? It's different. It feels like it's something different to everybody else.
Yeah.
Generally, purpose is about that feeling that there is a reason to the things that you do. There's an intentionality in the way that your life is mapped out.
Yeah.
There is a greater overall reason that you exist, and there is a specific path, or it feels as though there's a specific path that you should take in order to utilize the gifts that you've been given. At least for me, being a Christian, my understanding of purpose is very much tied to this whole idea of God's will. I think generally though, people use it as the, why am I here?
Yeah.
What is the big, what is the big
question.
reason? The big, and then this gets manifested through the smaller spheres of life. Why am I here in terms of like relationships? Why am I here in terms of like business and careers? Why am I here? So you've got this big meta, okay, why am I here? What was I created to do? And what does that look like in my life? So to me, that's what purpose is.
Yeah.
And I don't think the meta definition of purpose changes, but I think the way that it's manifested changes across time and space.
I like that.
So throughout your life, whilst your purpose may remain the same, it may be that your career changes or your relationships change or your finances change.
Yeah.
But if you were to zoom out, I think of purpose as almost zooming out.
Yeah.
So how do all of these like micro moments, these experiences, how do these add up to a narrative of why I exist?
Yeah.
So that's how I would define
that. That's
purpose.
a really good way of conceptualizing it.
What about you, Miss Courtney?
No, I think it's the same for me. I think there is that meta big picture. And then I think I like that you made the differentiation of purpose rarely changes, but the manifestation will. And I think that that's something you have to embrace. And I think purpose, more generally, having a conversation about purpose, I think people have become so glued to this concept of purpose that it can kind of become a bit debilitating or like paralyzing. Because it's like, okay, you're presented with a new opportunity. Oh my God, is this purpose? You're presented with a new choice and it's like, is this purpose? And it's kind of this feeling that if I make the wrong choice, I thrown myself off of my life's right course, But I think there's so much more grace to purpose. And I think that's obviously because of our faith and Christianity, like this idea that no matter where you walk, there will always be a way to correct your path. Yeah. And the overall purpose of your life, whatever purpose you were put on this earth for, whatever whatever part you play in the story of human existence, that's what purpose is. But I think, and I remember reading a caption on Instagram and somebody was saying, purpose stays the same, assignments change. And I feel like assignments do shift. Like
they do.
Today you're this, you're a student, go hard at that. This is a part of the overarching story. But next year you might not be a student. And when you graduate, you have to have developed a relationship with the concept of purpose that keeps you faithful in this pursuit of excellence and doing all the things that you can to make sure that all these little chunks that contribute to the overarching story, they're all as important as each other. Yeah. So let me give my all to this assignment that I'm in, this season that I'm in, whatever all these other Christian words, but like, let me give my all to what I'm doing now and what I'm focusing on now, because this adds to the story. And if I culminate effort in everything that I do, hopefully it makes a good overarching story. And I think no matter what, like one thing purpose is not external to you, it really is inside of you. And so no matter what you are doing, purpose will oftentimes be manifest unless you're doing something that sometimes goes against your morals, the things that are important to you. Like most of the time when people are looking for confirmation that they're outside of purpose, you actually really just need to look within you. Do you feel like you're meant to be here? even if it's uncomfortable, sometimes it can be uncomfortable and right. Yeah. But sometimes it's comfortable and very wrong. Like you actually shouldn't be here. So I think you should look within you, like the things that you hold dear to you, your morals, your values, your whatever, your culture, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Does this sit right with you? Is this allowing you to flourish? Is this teaching you something? Are you learning? Are you also being able to give? So I think there are key indicators you can look to see whether you're kind of in purpose.
Yeah.
But go and watch the first season episode on purpose.
Yeah, I'm missing out.
We went into that.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be sharing 3 things.
Exciting. It's giving me Mean Girls circa like 2006. 100%.
We're going to be sharing 3 things each. So 6 things for y'all.
That's right. For y'all that can't count. Because some of us can't count.
That's not right.
Boy. Sometimes I shock myself at my maths. You wouldn't think I went to school.
You got 2 degrees.
Maths ain't one of them.
You got a good point. So we're going to be sharing 6 things in total about what we have been learning in our pursuit of purpose. These are our life lessons. We are not therapists, life coaches, life experts. We're not old. I just want to put all these disclaimers before people are like, why do you think you're an expert on this? I don't. I am an online sister.
It's a you problem.
We are online sisters. We're doing this journey with you, sis.
Yeah.
So if this helps you in any way, we're glad. But we also want to hear about your journey too. I feel like people think old is a qualifier.
I know.
You know?
I know.
Like, you guys are so young. Remember we got one of those reviews that was like, you guys are like 23, only at the beginning of your story or whatever.
Okay, but why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?
Because I'm alive and I'm breathing.
That's
and
I've got
things to say.
That's right. I've been through the mud.
My mother has been telling me I talk too much. Might as well start a podcast.
There we go. No, this ain't the podcast.
Cool. But actually, Renee, I'm going to hand the mic over to you and you start with your 3.
Oh?
Hit us with... Or actually, should we do one?
Yeah, let's do one.
Okay, cool.
Pass the baton. Tennis.
We're going to do tennis. Okay, Renee, share with us your first purpose lesson.
The first, very, very obvious to me, focus. Focus. So the reason I say focus is I think that both generally, I can talk about myself, but also generally in our society, there's so many distractions. There's so many things that are, trying to get us off track. Yeah. And I think that part of the reason why there's a lot of people that feel lost in this generation is because they are delving into or being derailed by distractions. And sometimes the distractions are not just external things, but it's also the way that you manifest those external things. So for all intents and purposes, if you know me very well, I like to do a lot of things. I like a lot of things too.
Multi-hyphenate?
Insert multi-hyphen something. Polymath? That's what, yeah. I'm a polymath. I'm a serial something. Not killer.
Multidisciplinary.
Not killer.
Not killer. Thank God.
But I think this part of my life is very much about picking the thing and honing in on it. Purpose right now looks to me like focusing on that one thing, because you can only be good at something if you're consistent or if it has your undivided attention. So some of the, the sisters always be like, what books are you reading? Some of you are liars though, because you don't read them. I know. You buy them, but you don't read them. They're on your drawer. They've been gathering dust since 2021. I know, but I just thought, listen, when we start doing up, doing our January 2022 goals and stuff like that, if you say you're gonna read a book a week, you better read that book and don't buy new ones. Start with the ones that you started with.
It's true. Start with your library. How about that?
Start with your current library. Because them ones where it's like, I'm starting afresh. We did it with the journals. We did it with the new workout routine that you never completed. We did it with the... Anyways, that's not what this episode is about.
So we'll go into that later. Do you wake up in the morning and decide that you're going to just slew us?
Or maybe I am a serial killer. I'm funny. Did you see what I did there?
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Did you see what I did there?
Focus.
That was
focus.
There we go. You see there. Principle. But yeah, focus was necessary because I realized the power of undivided attention. So in terms of like books that I was reading, The One Thing by Gary Keller was great for me insofar as like, what is the one thing on your to-do list that once you get that done, everything else becomes easy? There was another book that I read recently as well called, well, not recently, in this year, called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And this whole idea of like, how can you segment your day such that your day isn't choppy or bitty, but you've got long stretches of actually focusing in on one thing at a time, and getting into this thing called flow, a state of flow, which is you get into that happy period of you just really going in depth. And I think focus is important when pursuing purpose, because without focus and without that attention, then you won't be able to really, really figure out the key details. You won't really be able to give enough care to the things that you're trying to do. And it means that you actually spend much more time in the long run because you didn't give focus when you needed it. It's kind of like, have you ever seen like kids when they get, distracted by something? A balloon, oh my God, I'm running. Or like, I want a cookie when you are watching television. The task never gets finished. And I realized that with myself, without focus, I couldn't be a finisher. And I think that if we want to finish, purpose is about finishing, right? It's about getting to some kind of end or some kind of conclusion, some kind of, feeling of fulfillment. You won't get to the crux of that fulfillment if you don't focus. And that was something that I had to learn the hard way when I was out here doing like multi-hyphenate. No one is saying do not explore. But at the end of you doing this whole exploration, focus now.
This is it.
Focus now. It's the same with like when we think about revision and stuff like that. It's like, revise all of these different topics, but then have periods of extended time where you focus on one thing at a time. It's the same with anything. If you want a business to flourish, it requires your focus. If you want a relationship to flourish, it requires focus. If you want to achieve anything in life really that's noteworthy, you need to focus. You need to give these things attention. 100%. Your plants will die if you don't give it focus.
Come on.
Quite literally, but also figuratively in your life, things will die if you don't focus. So there's a reason why many of us feel like unfulfilled. And as you're speaking about like the past TMS plus that you did on feeling unfulfilled, there are many things in our lives that we have allowed to die because we haven't given it enough focus and attention needed. That's my, I guess, first lesson.
I like that a lot. I like that. I love that you talked about exploring versus focusing, because I think we have both fallen into that trope of I can do a lot of things. I'm good at a lot of things. I like a lot of things. I'm going to explore. But I think exploring, the point of exploring is to find. And I think if you don't put emphasis on, okay, but am I finding, or am I just getting so complacent or not even complacent, am I getting so used to and am I starting to fall in love with kind of the chaos involved with and the lack of commitment involved in exploring constantly, that I am like really neglecting the fact that this is meant to lead to somewhere, and I'm actually meant to find what I'm meant to be doing with the majority of my time. I really like that. And what came to mind is like, if you plant bare seeds in the ground, if you're trying to water all of them, by the time you get back to the first one, it's probably going to be dead. And it's going to take time for you to focus on, like you said, nurturing things and growing them. I love that focus. So I think my first one is character.
Come on.
Character is really important.
You better take us home. Come on now. Let me just get comfortable sitting for this.
I'm screwing. I think we think that purpose is something that because it's in us, things should just align if we're walking in it. But I actually think the way you allow yourself to be trained and disciplined by everything that is happening around you actually will determine how quickly you succeed, how intentional you are about things. Character actually sustains purpose. And I think that if you don't really work on your character, your discipline, the way you speak to people, the way you view yourself, your routines, your bad habits, even trauma, things you haven't healed over. If you don't work on the internal, the external's not going to make sense. Or even if good things are happening, there will always be this sense of a lack of fulfillment, a lack of intentionality, a lack of fruit.
Yeah.
And so for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is things will only grow to the level you've allowed your character to be changed.
Yeah.
And so if you don't allow yourself to do the internal work and you don't prioritize doing the internal work, other things are not going to make sense. You can get as much help as you like. New people can come into your life who, you know, you can build a super great network. You can get a mentor. You can move into that new place. You can buy as much equipment as you like. But if you haven't worked on the discipline, if you haven't worked on the discipline, if you haven't worked on your own mindset, all of that stuff is going to gather dust and you're not going to know how to actually make the most of it. Because the one thing I think, similar to what you were saying about distractions, I think a lot of us, it's like we have shiny object syndrome. What is it? Shiny object syndrome. Yeah, like where it's like, let me get this new thing and let me just move on to this new thing and this new thing and this new thing. And all the things that we have collected and all the things we have collected, resources, knowledge, all start gathering dust and are not applied because we are moving on to the new things. I need to learn more. I need to, like you're saying about the books, I need to buy this new book and read that, because once I read that, it will allow me to flourish, right, in purpose. But actually, it's not about getting the new book. It's about implementing what you read in the last book and then taking it another step further. And I think if you don't work on your character and you don't become a doer more than you are, I think if you don't work on your character and you don't become a doer and you don't become an implementer and you don't tackle the things that would stop you from doing these things, purpose is going to be hard to achieve, or you'll just find yourself walking in circles. Because I think one thing about purpose is, like I said, those assignments, those seasons are going to teach you something, right? It's not just about you manifesting. It's actually also about you being taught something. It's going to come with new challenges. It's going to actually create some requirements for you to be able to change and grow in preparation for the next thing and in preparation for, you know, whatever blessings or whatever is on your goals list or whatever you consider to be success. But if you don't allow yourself to be changed and challenged by the things that are in front of you and really develop and work and exercise that character, you're just going to be stuck on that same level, finding it hard to actually juggle all the things that you've been praying for. So I think character for me was one of the biggest things that I learned about purpose. Absolutely
love that, because when I say this year, I was really beaten up about character. Beaten.
And it was the little things. It was the little things, like everyone can champion you. Things can look really successful, but you know the areas in which you're failing. And you start to realize it's almost like I can't manage the thing that I'm praying for if I don't sort this out now. And I need to identify, like, what am I being taught here? Because similarly, for example, I've had to start every morning I wake up, I have to wash the dishes. I was never that person.
I hear it, man.
I was never that person. But in my mind, it was like, you need to, like, character wise, I started to think like, oh, why am I like so adverse to doing this thing? And suddenly, and I think what's interesting about this, you start to get irritations that you didn't have before. And you start to get burdens that you didn't get before. And you start to think things that you didn't think before. And things that used to be fine now are getting on your nerves. They're not fine anymore. And I think you have to pay attention and be attuned with your soul as to where is this coming from and why is this happening? And I think it's the natural evolution of a person, but you have to embrace those things. But sorry, I cut you.
Love it. No, I absolutely love it. And as you were speaking, rather, one of the things that came to my mind is this whole idea of many of us waiting for the test before we become. We're waiting for the signs and symbols of the purpose, the physical and tangible manifestations of our purpose to become the kind of person that is needed to sustain and maintain. You're not going to be like walking. It's just such a romanticized notion, this whole idea of like, let me get the thing that's in line with my purpose and then I'll start acting right. No.
That's not how it works.
That's actually not how it works. Character always precedes the tangible manifestation. Always. Like when you see the six-figure business, you've got to be that entrepreneur first before you become, or rather before you get the six-figure business. Before, you know, the successful marriage, you've got to become the servant. You've got to become the sacrificer before it happens. Like really focusing on your character, and not necessarily just in pursuit of these things, because I think that's also a problem. It's like, oh, because I want to, you know, live a purpose-filled life and because I want these things, then the only reason for me to become a good person is because I want things, not because it's actually a good thing to do. Right? So this whole idea of becoming, you know, we've spoken about it, main character energy, or becoming that woman, really thinking about what does that character entail? What are the traits that you want to actually develop such that you feel fulfilled in your own body? I deeply resonate insofar as like with washing the dishes, right? The little things. For me, it's the whole making sure consistently I wake up at this time so I can do this at this time so that I know that it doesn't impact the rest of my day and it gives me time. This is it. Because as somebody that is, you know, trying to be in pursuit of purpose, I know my time is valuable. So it means I need to be the kind of character that respects time. This is it. Stop respecting other people's time first. I have to respect my own time first. And then the rest will follow.
This is it.
Much of the things that we're looking for in the pursuit of purpose comes in the like development of character first. So I love the fact that you touched on character. Listen, if you feel like you're going for a season where you're starting to notice things about your character, or people are starting to show you things a little bit more, or it just feels like, damn,
you're being challenged.
It means that you're getting to a place where new things are starting to crop up into your life. And in order to prepare you for them, you can't stay in the same place.
Preparation.
This is preparation.
Preparation.
If somebody is pulling you up and holding you accountable about certain things that you're doing, pay attention. Because you're stopping your own elevation. You're actually preventing yourself from getting into that next phase. Okay, cool. You had like feedback back from work where it wasn't too stellar. Preparation, because that could be what you need to do to get a promotion.
That's it.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's really about it's really about having that perspective and understanding. Let me start working on myself such that I will be strategically aligned and positioned and in position such that these things will naturally follow.
I love that you just said that, because this morning I was even like, as I was journaling and I was praying, the word positioning and repositioning kept coming to me. Like, preparation and positioning matters. If there's anything about purpose threads like a string through your whole entire life. And oftentimes in the moment, you can't see how this will relate to anything that you'll ever need. But as you progress in life, you'll realize, actually, this is exactly why I had to go through this. This is exactly why I needed that feedback. This is exactly why I needed to change myself in order to prepare myself and allow myself to be changed, because I was being positioned for perfectly for what it is I wanted. And position isn't about location. It's about character. Where is my heart at? Where is my mind at? Is my heart and my mind open to receive what it is I'm trying to receive, you know? And oftentimes the answer is no. And so sometimes for our own safety, things are held back from us that we really want, right? And we can't achieve them and we can get frustrated. But sometimes the frustration is easily soothed by doing the character development and the work. So yeah, that was my lesson 1.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I don't know where this accent is coming from.
Neither
it's
do
really
I.
Quite serious. It's quite serious. Intercede for me. The next on my list was form, in the sense of execution. So I'm a gym rat. I love, doing up weightlifting and all them kind of things there, and just, hit all that kind of exercise. And when I say physical exercise has taught me so much about purpose, it's actually insane. The metaphors that come as a result of exercise, insane.
Wow.
So if you're not exercising, you better put on your shoes and go outside.
Get yourself in that gym.
You better. But form occurred to me because I set myself a couple of goals insofar as how much I can lift on like squats, deadlifts, all that kind of stuff. And many of us, when we go to the gym or like when we have like exercise goals, we'll say, I want to do this by this. And we focus so much on the content and doing the thing that we forget how we do the thing. And that's just as important, if not more important in some instances, when we're in the pursuit of purpose.
That's good.
What is your form saying? How are you executing purpose? Are you doing it with integrity? Are you doing it in a way such that you can continue to build from that foundation? Because if I take the squat, for example, the squat is one of my, I am afraid of the squat sometimes. When you go heavy on a squat and you have no spotter and there's nobody, if something fails, your knees, you're out.
Yesterday I was in the gym, Squats was like one of the first exercises I had to do. I went down, I said my hip, no. I came right back up. I said, today we're doing sumo deadlifts. We're moving on. Because it's not me that will die.
Fam.
But yeah.
It's that moment that you go down and you realize what comes down must go up.
How you get back up?
Form is important. And the thing is, if you don't execute correctly, you risk getting injured. And it's the same for purpose. If you don't execute this correctly, you will get hurt.
You will be hurt.
Some of you feel like, oh, this is existing outside of my purpose, or like I feel unfulfilled, or I feel lost. You're not lost. You're just executing incorrectly. Or this business is not working out. This side hustle that I have, you're not executing correctly.
Yeah.
The relationships with my friends, I don't know, I feel like I'm doing everything right. Actually, you're not. You're not executing it correctly.
Okay.
You're not going about it the way that it needs to go, like you need to go about. So how do you correct your form? Well, if you're in a place, first of all, it depends on what stage you're at.
Right.
If you're in the beginning phases of pursuing purpose, then you're in a very, very privileged place, because once you get the form right, everything becomes easy. Because you're literally learning good form from the beginning, it means that things will flow easily. You'll make more progression much more easily and much more quickly.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to overwrite something that's already been written.
Say it again.
It's a lot harder to unlearn. And that's why so many of us, whilst we are pursuing purpose, we're actually adjacent to purpose because we've been pursuing it incorrectly. Our form has been incorrect. We've been on, it reminds me of like parallel lines. The line is here and you're here. Yeah. So technically you're not off the right, you're still going in the right direction, but you're not on the correct course. So really thinking about being intentional about how you execute the thing. If you do have, a side hustle that you're thinking about, execute it correctly. Don't skimp out. Don't think that you can just, hop in and play it by ear. Research and study.
I love that.
Even in exercise, before you do the work of the exercise, you need to research and watch people do it.
Yeah.
And that's even another, boy,
it's coming now.
It's rolling. But even that is important. Watch people that have done this before you. Drop the ego. Yeah. Avoid ego lifting. Avoid ego exercising. Some of us are failing in purpose because our egos are too big. You need to pare down your ego and relearn the correct form. Word. Don't think that you know it all.
Word.
And then we start to despise other people when actually you should have been looking at other people for correct form. You should have been learning.
This is right.
But you despise them and you're wondering, why is my back hurting? Why are things so hard? Yeah. Why is this not working out for me?
Progressing?
You did it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Your form was not on. And you'll get to a point. And the thing is, if you go with incorrect form continually, yes, you will progress. Yes, the weights will increase, but there will come a breaking point. And once you break, once your back goes, once your spine says,
you're out.
You're out. And for some people, they can't do that exercise again. So don't wait till you get to a point where you have made consequences that cannot be taken back.
Wow.
Right? Don't wait till you get to a point at which you now have to deal with the results of you having incorrect form. Bringing it back to, biblical. I'm a Christian.
I wrote Jesus.
But there was a song that I listened to by KB. I love him as an artist. And he was talking about King David, right? And he said a line in one of his songs, even though he reconciled with the Lord, David never danced again. There are some things that we do, and this is not to say that you are past redemption. Absolutely not. But understanding that there are certain consequences, you need to count up the costs of doing things incorrectly. If you do them incorrectly and you continue and you don't check yourself, when the time comes that you actually are forced to do things correctly, you'll be doing it from a place of not being able to dance again. So whilst you are still in the phase of, building whatever it is that you're building, focusing on whatever you're focusing within your purpose, prioritize form. And I learned this so much in exercise, because even with some of the exercises I was doing, I was continually learning good form. So even with like squats, ankle mobility, thinking about my hip flexors, where do they need to be positioned? Juggling all of these balls, making sure that I executed well. You need to be obsessed with execution. You need to be obsessed with your form. But I've nattered on.
No, you haven't. That was amazing.
Bruh.
A word. It's so true. And I think from that exercise thing, like even since I've been in the gym, what I've been realizing is every rep is an opportunity to assess your form. And that idea of constantly check, reassess, Constantly make sure, have I got everything in mind? How did I just perform that last thing? Was it good? Was it on? Don't just assume that because it was complete that it was right. And don't just assume that because you're in flow that you're doing it right. You know, because one thing that often can sometimes happen is, say you've got to do a set of 8 reps. You've now got to 4 and you're like, I can just bang out another 4.
Yep.
That 4, the last 4, really, you need to keep the same form or they're not going to count. So you have to really get yourself in a position where, even if it means slowing down, assess your form. Are you executing this with as much excellence and attention to detail as you were when you started? Because it's easy to drop the attention to detail as you're going. But by the end of it, like you said, it will get to a point, whether it's in a week or at the end of the workout or in a year, where you realize, because I didn't take time to reassess, I thought I was doing it right, but actually I was repeating bad form and bad habits. And another thing that came to mind in terms of execution and form, integrity. The way you do things speaks of your character, and it speaks of who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
There are ways, there are many ways to get to things. There are many ways to skin a cat.
Be a dog.
However, not always are good ways. There's not always are good ways. And one thing that we have to be is integral. We have to be integral to our morals. We have to be integral to what we say we stand for. We cannot be hypocritical as well. The way you do things matters more than what you say. You have to be in alignment with what you think you are and what you're actually doing. Yeah, because it's easy to live hypocritical. It's easy to live a lie. It's easy to live fraudulently. And yeah, let's just be honest. Yep. It's easy to live a life where you're not doing things the right way. Whilst you are aspiring to have the right things, you're not getting there the right way, and the way matters more and as much as the destination. And so really pay attention to the way you're doing things. I love that.
Man, listen, we spit in bars. It seems like we spit in bars.
Girl, you better be writing some down. It's something down in one of those notebooks, boy.
One of them from 2015.
We're going to put them to use. My second one I love that you mentioned drop your ego and learn. My second one is collaboration.
Come on.
It's so important. And I think from this year, in being in radical pursuit of purpose for me, what I have learned, and I was I was raving about it on Instagram. 2 are better than 1. Oh. Collaborate. We live in that self-made, I did it by myself culture. And whilst it may, like I think we said this before in a previous episode, whilst it may make a really good autobiographical story, it makes a very, very hard struggle of a journey. You don't need to subject yourself to the pains of doing things alone when you can go with someone, when you can lean on someone. When I was in uni, someone I think they were 2 years above me, they were a medical student. And I was just, complaining about, I have all this work to do. Obviously, I'm new to uni. I was a fresh undergrad. And they were like, okay, you're struggling and find this hard. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Find someone who's already done it and has grown in it and stand on their shoulders. I said, huh?
What is that?
What? Not do it on my own? And it's like, yeah, these, like the people in the year above you read these books last year. Just go to them and be like, can I have your notes? Yeah. What did you learn from this? It's so you don't have to go through the same thing. You can literally stand on the shoulders of giants. People have already grown past that. And what I've deeped is, when you lean on other people's knowledge, their resources, their talents, their time, it allows you and it multiplies the time. It allows you to go so much quicker to where it is you're trying to go and achieving purpose so much faster. Purpose is not a race, but what I'm saying is those, like we were saying, those assignments, those things that happen, kind of like those chapters of your life. Yeah. You can get to those places so much quicker when you learn from the mistake of other people, when you learn from the successes of other people, and when you allow other people to share with you the route that you should go down. in order to get there. Because one thing that is actually quite foolish is thinking, I'm going to learn and make all the mistakes for myself. And then ending up in generational cycles and in generational patterns because you refuse to learn from the stories of other people who went down this path and who went down this road. And now you're falling in the same traps. And you could have saved yourself. It's embarrassing. And you could have saved yourself so much time, but also so much emotional stress if you had just asked, if you had just humbled yourself to say, I can't do this. I can do this alone. Because sometimes the case is I can do this alone. Talented. I have a high capacity. I'm high functioning. But would you not be better if you did it with someone? And I think it's easy to not want to share your shine with anybody because it's like, if I share it with you, we have to split the profits. We have to split the praise. We have to split the attention. If you do it on your own, you're not getting any of that anyway.
That was literally in my head. I was like, girl, you ain't going to get no profit.
You're not getting any of it.
You ain't going to get no profit.
Or you're going to get, it's like what they say, having a whole pie that's small. Okay, cool. You've got the whole pie. But having a slice of a pie that's infinitely larger, that's more pie than your little self-serve something. It really matters to collaborate. Two really do go further than one. It's like we were saying, it's a biblical principle that one will chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. Wow. It's not about addition. It really is about multiplication. If you're looking to infinitely grow, it's not addition. It's multiplication that will get you there. You need someone else's mind. And I think sometimes we don't want to welcome in that challenge of having to collaborate with someone because now you're going to do things which will actually sharpen your character, right? You have to now be a better communicator. You have to be a better, you have to take into consideration somebody else's needs and their vision as well, and try to work with someone to achieve greatness, not just resting it all on your own shoulders. And whilst that can be a challenge, the benefits far outweigh those challenges because you get to share, like even with TMS, as we've been growing the sisterhood community, it's so much easier being able to do this with a sister. It's so much easier being able to have someone who's going to keep you accountable because they're on the same schedule, they're on the same timeline, they're aware of the goals, and they share that same vision in their heart and that same fire and passion with you. You're not just carrying it on your own. It's so easy to be inconsistent at something when you have no one else you have to show up for. But when you collaborate, you have to show up because it's not just you anymore. And so start collaborating with people who are, I think it's Issa Rae that was talking about not just vertical collaboration, but horizontal collaboration. Start working with people who they're not just where it is you're trying to go. Actually, they are on your same level. They're your peers, they're your friends, they're working on things. And whilst they may not have blown yet, they're still talented, they're still able. What we need to create is opportunities for each other. And I think collaboration is so beautiful because whilst we are all waiting for opportunities that come from like higher up and big corporations, when you collaborate with someone, especially in the business sense of things, you actually create an opportunity. And we all just need opportunities to expand our portfolios, to expand our log of work. We need opportunities, and being able to network horizontally and also collaborate horizontally is what allows us all to progress on and on and on, rather than waiting for or being the few that kind of get to jump the ladder and then being like, well, you guys figure it out. Nah, let's all do it kind of unilaterally and really make sure that we're supporting each other. And as sisters, collaboration is really what's going to take us far. Being able to lean on other people's expertise because you don't know everything, and embracing that fact. I don't know everything, and I'm actually, whilst I may be good at everything, I'm not great at everything because like you were saying with focus, I haven't focused enough on one thing to be excellent at it. You know, for example, with me, I can make graphics, I can design stuff, but I'm not the best at it. Do you get what I mean? Because it's not where I'm meant to be.
I beg to differ. Like,
thank you. But it's not where I'm meant to be.
Compared to me, oh my God, I can just about get you like a moving animation if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
No, you're killing it. But But even with that, then you've been able to then lean on my ability to do
100.
it. And I would rather lean on someone who's way more professional and actually just focuses on this. And when you collaborate, you allow people to not have to deviate from their focus. When you collaborate, you put your other weights and the other things that are distracting you, the other demands on your time, you allow yourself to share it with other people so that you can actually focus a lot more on what it is you need to be focusing on, what it is you are good at, what's actually going to allow you to fulfill your purpose. So start taking the burden off of yourself, sis. You're not this strong boss babe because you're juggling a 15,000 task on your to-do list. That's not cute, okay? What we're doing is efficiency, okay? Collaboration will allow you to be efficient.
Excellent point. Like, genuinely excellent point.
Thank you.
Wow.
I try.
Do you know what? Like, Courtney, it's great. Yeah, it's great. I love it. 10 out of 10. I just think collaboration is so important because purpose, a lot of folks think that purpose is all about me. Even the whole idea, what's my purpose? What am I going to do to impact the world?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, there's your purpose, but there's also community purpose. There's also, purpose that is shared between people. And I think taking your individual purpose and plugging it into a community, a sisterhood, relationships, means that the impact that you yourself are having can be so much more magnified.
So good.
Plug into. It's just like so frustrating when I see like little things that crop up and I'm like, good on you, sis, but you could have taken this further if you two had, or like you three, like hitch
even
up.
Financial moves.
Bruh.
You could have gotten that house a lot quicker if you did it with someone else.
Even that, the concept of that, do it with a friend.
Just do it with a friend.
Do it with a friend.
And it's like, but I don't know if I can trust. But that's what we're saying in building these healthy relationships, in building these sisterhood. You should be able to find someone who you can trust.
Exactly.
You should be able to have friends around you who you can trust with these big legacy moves.
Exactly.
I'm thankful that I've actually discovered that this year, that I can make big legacy moves.
Mate, come on.
It's made me so like, wow.
Anyways, be tuned into our Instagram. You'll find out later. It's big moves.
Yeah.
Big moves.
What I was going to say actually from what you were saying about the my purpose, me. Hard pill to swallow time. Grab your water. Some of your purposes
Stop it.
is to serve someone else. I know it goes against your ideas of main character energy. I get it.
And scene cut. Thank you for listening into the To My Sisters podcast.
Let me just
the unsubscribe button is no, don't unsubscribe. Hey, come on now.
Let me just be honest. Whilst we are all main characters, not all of us are going to be standing in the spotlight. On the world stage. In your life stage, you're standing front and center. I'm never going to take that away from you. On the world stage, in your community stage, not everyone can stand in the spotlight. A lot of us refuse to collaborate because we want to stand in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, a tweet that I often see around like Black businesses and small businesses is a lot of us share the same ideas.
Yeah, we do.
And so we then go off and we start our own independent companies. And the reason why they can't get off the ground, especially sis, if you started a business, not just as a Black person, but as anyone, like a small business, the reason why your business is not getting off the ground is because there are 17,000 businesses just like yours. If you put your efforts with someone who shared the same idea with you, whilst it no longer makes you founder, it makes you co-founder. Whilst it no longer makes you CEO boss babe, it makes you COO. It's still a board position and it's still a flourishing company. And actually your company may actually, in pooling those resources, pooling those ideas, your company may actually rise above its peers because two of you have put your forces together. It's that multiplication idea, right? Like I said, I know it may be contrary to what we're believing about main character energy, XYZ, but you don't always have to be at the forefront. And actually, it doesn't actually play to everybody's strengths. Not everybody wants to be a star. Yeah. And some of us sisters are not walking in purpose and not flourishing in purpose because we refuse to join ourselves to and serve someone else, because I now have to stand behind someone else while they rise to stardom. But actually, it's not about the stardom. It's about putting your talents to practice. And your talents are actually best used under someone else's vision. That can sound, it's very humbling, but sometimes it's what you need to embrace.
Yeah.
That actually serving someone else makes me a part of a greater thing.
For sure.
Rather than trying to figure this out for myself, because not all of you, sis, let me just be honest. I know we're living in a boss babe culture.
Just be honest.
Not all of you are going to be CEOs. Not all of you are going to be the top boss at the top of the pyramid. It's not, and the reason why I say that is not because it's anything to do with you. It's about the way you were made and what you were made for, right? Everyone's purpose doesn't have as much visibility, even though it all carries the same weight, right? Your purpose is never going to be less than mine. Mine will never be more than you, but the visibility may be higher. We're sitting here on YouTube every single week. We're visible. We're influencers. We're all these things. People care about what we have to say. But you might not, your purpose may not manifest in this same level of visibility, right? And this is what the world applauds. And the world, you may feel like the world is not applauding me, but you're still achieving purpose.
Precisely. We need to disentangle purpose from visibility.
And fame.
Oh, because listen, your purpose, I just don't believe your purpose is to be famous. I just can't
say it again.
If your purpose
we were literally
is to be
saying
famous,
it last week with the dilemma that one of the sisters sent in.
Yeah. Like your purpose can't be fame because fame changes. Purpose needs to be something that doesn't change. Public opinion changes like the tide of the sea. If your purpose is to be applauded rather than it is to be impactful, girl, I don't even know.
You got it wrong.
I don't know what to say.
You've got it wrong.
Because the applause is not infinite. It's for a very short
moment.
You've been working hard and your validation is somebody's applause. That they, in the grand scheme of their life, you haven't even 0.0000000 something 1%. And then they do something else. Think of all the folks that have achieved great things. You swipe on Instagram, like, comment, you're out of there. I'm not constantly thinking about you. It's like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But
many you may not have impacted people's lives.
Exactly. But many of us live with this mentality of, I want to be on the front. I want the retweets. I want the shares. I want rare tear. I want to be
on the front cover.
The space. Like I want to be on the front cover. I've even got the pose down.
I need to be recognized.
In front of Elle magazine, I've got the pose. I'm going to do everything. I know the hair I'm going to do. But the thing that you're actually doing in order to frequent these spaces, have you thought about that? Okay, so you want to be the 6-figure business. You don't even know what industry you want to work in, but you want to be famous. I want to be an influencer. Influencing what?
And it may not actually be for you.
And
you want to have a 6-figure company, baby. Maybe you were made to be a part of an 8-figure company. You just need to swallow the pill that you're not going to be at the head of the table as CEO.
And the thing is,
Can you accept that?
The CEO position is so like coveted. And it's like, you don't need to be a CEO to be impactful or purposeful. You can actually live a very good life not being the CEO.
You don't have to be a billionaire.
Because there's a lot of the things you need to think about being a CEO, the things that come with being a
not everyone is made for it.
No, you see billionaire, even talk about billionaire. I was watching the infographic show, yeah. Shout out to the infographic show. I love you guys. I was watching the infographic show and it was talking about the security measures that millionaires versus billionaires have to make.
Yeah.
If you saw the security measures that billionaires have to take just to ensure that they're continuing to live,
not everyone is built for it.
And it's like, everyone can be billionaires. First of all, no.
It's impossible.
Second of all, in terms of ethics,
maybe in
we might
rupees.
need to talk about. In fact, the existing billionaires, we got rupees.
we got to talk about that.
Y'all be talking about I'm aspiring to this, a massive wealth. And you know what's even funny? This is such a separate tangential point. But so many of us are aspiring to these like excesses in wealth and stuff like that, thinking that we're going to become good people once we're rich. Woo! Isn't that funny?
And yet money just amplifies who you are.
I'm so happy. Like, sorry to come back to the character point, but it literally just made me think of the fact that so many of us are waiting for our bank accounts to expand expeditiously and exponentially before we become good people. And it's like, if you can't be a good person, before the riches come, before the wealth, before the fame comes. The only thing that it will do, as you said, is magnify your shortcomings. How many stories have we heard of billionaires and millionaires usurping their wealth? How many stories have we heard of them, exploiting the poor, exploiting people? These horrific stories that we hear in the news every day, and you think you're different because once you get rich, you're going to be good. No, because you're not good now. Damn. Wow. You're not good now. Wow. And it's just like, dude, collaborate. And even working with people means that you have that accountability too.
This is it.
Character.
And so many of us are kind of scared of accountability now because it's somebody calling you up on your ish. But it's necessary. It's so necessary.
It's so necessary because there are certain blind spots that you have when it comes to yourself. And it's necessary to have someone to check you when you can't check yourself. Do you think that there could be a day that I could start moving mad and Courtney will not check me? And vice versa.
It's impossible.
It's quite impossible.
It's impossible.
In fact, it's even more natural to be like, before you move mad, hey sis, have a read of this or listen to this. Do you think that this makes sense?
This is it.
Having the soundboard, if you are going for the fame and the fortune, having the soundboard is important.
Yeah, more than ever.
Because it means you stay on the right path.
More than ever.
It's kind of like, have you ever played pinball?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Having those things on the side. When you're playing bowling to make sure you strike, you have to get them kiddie pin thingies on the side, right? It's going to hurt when you hit the barriers, but they will knock you back to where you need to go. That's what accountability is.
Come on.
It will hurt. You will bash against the sides and you're like, I don't need this. And they'll be like, not today.
But it comes down to what you said. Put your ego aside.
Put it aside, honey.
Put your ego aside.
Baby girl.
Don't let, even like you said, we've spoken about main character energy and stuff like that, but don't let it inflate your head so much that you forget you're also existing within community and you need it. Life is not meant to be done alone. As awesome as you think you may be, life is not meant to be done alone. Absolutely. And I really think a lot of us need to swallow, because I think some people welcome it, right? People who are like, my personality may be a bit more introverted. I don't want to be seen like that. Yeah. They've accepted, but I think society can sometimes pressure you into thinking if you don't want the opposite, you don't want to be successful. But success doesn't, like you said, it doesn't just look like one thing. Yeah. So that was my point. Collaborate.
Multiple. Well, my last point, I know we've been nattering on, but it's one of those episodes.
I've enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed, we've been digging deep here. We've been pulling up from the reserves for this one, I'm telling you. My last one is Fervor. So this whole conversation around the way that you should go about things, ensuring that there is a fervor about you is important. Okay. It's one thing to, be carrying around those little candles, right? That doesn't light up a room. But if you come with a flipping flamethrower, my God, everything's setting on fire.
It's a lot of light now.
It's a lot of light. So, and this is not to say that you consistently will have the energy to do things with fervor.
That's good.
But it's important that you pursue purpose with fervor and not disdain or not. Many of us will be like, I'm living a purposeful life, but we'll be so abjectly sad. You just look depressed. It's like, I'm just following my purpose. Like you're a dog being led, a horse being led to eat.
You've been kidnapped.
You've been beaten. It doesn't have to be this way. Yeah. Approaching things with enthusiasm and fervor is really important when pursuing purpose because it opens so many doors for you. Just being happy
and being passionate.
Choosing joy, being passionate about what you do, waking up, knowing that you are doing something that takes you a step closer to discovering why you were made in this world, why you were made to do what you do, why you're good at what you do. Approach things with fervor and you'll be able to, see progressions a lot more easily. There's so much, again, back to exercise, right? It's one thing to approach exercise with fervor versus, I've been dragged out of bed. I'm just here because I'm trying to stay alive. You won't execute the thing well at all. You won't. You will despise the people around you. You'll despise the thing that you're doing. And it will impact exactly the results that you want. Yeah. So if you don't approach things with fervor, don't expect those kind of results. Some of us we are working at 0.5 capacity and our capacity is 100. And I know it's the whole, I don't want to work hard, labor, You need to accept that there are some things you need to work hard at.
I really don't like that.
You need to actually...
The thing that's happening at the moment about that, I was not made for labor.
Okay. I mean, okay. Structurally, institutionally, but that's a separate point.
Completely different. But the principle of work.
Precisely. Get up. Get up.
Wake up.
You know that meme? Wake up. Wake up right out of your sleep.
What a lot of people are seeing as resistance to labor is laziness. You're being lazy.
Right. You know that Bible verse that's like, lazy hands are quick to poverty.
Poverty. Just fold your hands small.
Poverty.
And it's not to say have this fear, but what we are saying is the principle of work. All you have to do is look at anyone who has experienced any kind of success.
You gotta work
in any way. It makes work.
Fervor.
Even this glow and growing journey, it takes work.
Fervor.
All of it is work. Fervor. I love that.
How would you be if we didn't have Fervor and you were listening to this podcast, Sha? You would have clicked off a very long time ago. Imagine everything from your tone of voice, the way you approach things. Before we come to these kind of podcast recording sessions, we talk about, the episodes. We prepare ourselves mentally. We say, how can we bring our energy up? What's the topics we're talking about? If we need the caffeine pump, we get the caffeine pump.
Do you know how many episodes we have recorded and scrapped because we sound like we're dead?
I
know we're tired.
The Walking Dead.
Record it again.
That noise that the Walking Dead be making.
Hi guys, welcome to the To My Sisters. We already let each other know we're recording it again because the intro was dead.
Dusty.
Literally. Fervor.
Dusty. You need fervor. Don't approach things without fervor. And if you approach them without fervor, then you actually should not be doing them, in my opinion, because that can be literally that can be the difference between you absolutely smashing it, getting all the opportunities that you need to take you one step further, take you through the door, take you over the hoop. But if you do things half-heartedly, expect half-hearted results.
Ooh.
People will leave.
A quote.
People will leave. I don't want to be in a half-hearted relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
Have you been in one of those? They suck.
But then you have to give your all.
You have to give your all. I know some of us are afraid of giving our all because we're afraid of failure. Yeah. We're afraid of being betrayed. We're afraid of being hurt.
Too invested.
We're too invested. But we do need to get to a point where we are able to actually start revealing and giving more and more of ourselves to these things because it requires it. Okay.
And that's when you see the payoff, sis.
Absolutely. Vulnerability, transparency, fervor, enthusiasm. I know it hurts. I know it costs a lot. I know you've been hurt before.
Yes. Go there.
But being hurt before should never prevent you from progressing when it comes to moving forward. And don't let other people pay for sins they didn't commit. Because when we think of things like relationships, right? The projection. Yeah. You're not entering relationships with fervor anymore because you've been hurt so much. And you continue the cycle because the person will now leave because it's like, you don't even like me. There's no indication that you like me.
Sabotage.
Do you know how many sisters are in relationships with men that don't like them?
Oh, well, that's another episode for another day.
How many of us are in half-hearted, lazy friendships?
Yeah.
Stop doing things half-heartedly.
You need to be ignited with passion. And one thing I love that you mentioned about purpose, this is not to say that purpose is always giddy. We are walking in purpose.
Oh boy.
Literally yesterday we were just crying. Okay. There are things that happen that make you sad, that make you frustrated, that make you angry, that make you want to give up. The thing about purpose is a core emotion within purpose is pain. A core principle within purpose is pain. Okay. But purpose, and this is to say, purpose can sometimes be painful, but the pain is temporary. Boy. And what you need to understand is if your purpose brings you constant pain with no end sight of the benefit that will come from the pain, you're actually subjecting yourself to torture. It is not purpose. No, because a lot of us say, I'm walking in purpose. That's why I can't be happy. Do you get what I mean? Like the reason why I'm always having to sacrifice so much is because it's purpose. But the reason why I'm subjecting myself is because, I'm trying to refine my character. The reason why I'm staying in this toxic situation is because it's teaching me something. The pain is temporary. Pain in purpose brings fruit. It doesn't destroy. Do you get what I mean? Even the destruction it's of things that need to die for your benefit and your ability to bear more fruit. It's pruning. The pain has a purpose, right? Yeah. Within purpose, pain has a purpose. Your pain and your toxicity and the things you're going to, if you cannot see the beneficial purpose of it for you to actually bear fruit, it is not purposeful pain. It's torture, right? You staying in a situation of dysfunction, whilst you may think it's going to teach my character, it's going to make me more characterful, okay, that character needs a body to be carried in. If your body is battered, bruised, and dead, how is your great character going to be manifest?
Boy.
How? If your relationship with work, I'm making all these sacrifices because I have to be busy. That's the price of purpose. If it's costing you every relationship, not just romantic, your siblings hate you because you're never around. Your friends don't even know anything that's happening in your life. If it's costing you so much, is it really purposeful? Or is it really you just being obnoxious, you letting those bad habits and that bad form continue and feeding yourself these unhealthy rhetorics of, well, this is how purpose is meant to be. Form a better relationship and understanding of the concept of purpose. It is not meant to kill you. It's meant to let you flourish. And even that killing, even the dying, even the elements of us, like we were talking about in the character things, having to do the hard thing, having to say goodbye to the bad things that happened to you in the past, having to heal, having to become reborn. The killing is for rebirthing. If you don't allow yourself to be reborn and you end it at the killing, you failed. You failed. Pain is meant to birth something when you're in purpose. Subjecting yourself to pain constantly is not going to bring purpose out of you. It's going to kill you. It's going to make your heart sick. It's going to make you less hopeful. It's going to make you burnt out. And you can't allow yourself to keep falling into these traps in the guise of, well, these are the costs of purpose. Assess it. There are some costs that are actually not worth paying for.
They're really not.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, that was a good point, though. Ooh, fervor. My last point.
Come on, girl.
And it kind of relates to the fervor. Be consistent.
Oh, no.
Sis.
Oh, hell.
That stopping. It's not helping.
She said you just played the track. DJ, play the track.
That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Anyways.
Somebody is shouting, reload it. This is the fifth time.
We're going to play.
If they reload it one more time, me and you, they're gonna have to reload it. Please, I beg, play the track.
Let it play. Sis, if you're gonna be playing the game, if you're gonna have skin in the game, you need to be consistent. I know, I get it. It's hard. It requires discipline.
Get up.
That's why character matters.
There we go.
But you need to keep showing up. Keep at it. So many of us get frustrated because things are taking too long. Patience is a virtue. Be patient with yourself and be patient with this process of purpose because things are not going to happen instantly. They are not like you said, we live a few episodes back, we're living in this kind of popcorn generation and this microwave generation. Some things need to be baked in the oven and slow on low and slow for them to turn out right. Sis, I know it requires you to show up every day at 5, 6, 7 a.m. I know it's very enticing to lie in today at 10 and then get up and do whatever it is you want to at whatever time. If we're going to talk about the price of purpose, the price of purpose is you cannot give into the things that instantly gratify you. The price of purpose is you can't just give into every urge that you have. Your body has to be disciplined. And we literally just did an episode on discipline, but discipline is the price of purpose.
Man.
You can't say yes to everything. You gotta say no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially saying no to yourself.
Yeah.
Sis, you have to discipline yourself to be consistent. You need to constantly show up in order to see results, right? When you go to the gym, you don't just work out once and think, I'm gonna get that perfect body. Especially the more you've let yourself go, the more work you have to do to get yourself right. And so don't let it then go further, because then you'll have to do even more work to bring it back to where you want it to be. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, sis. Show up today. Keep going. Keep being consistent. It's hard. It takes effort. It requires resources. It requires so much internal work. I get it. And sometimes that is taxing and laboring. And that's why rest and frequent rest is actually so important. But the work cannot be avoided. And it also cannot be done sporadically. You will see consistent results when you become consistent in the effort and the work. So that was my last thing that I've learned in purpose.
I think that's literally a great roundup. Like, Consistency, the thing is not hard, or in comparison to having to do it over and over again. The thing itself, it's difficult in the moment, but then it's done. It's the mental strain of having to do this again and again and again. And like you said, we get it. It's hard. But you know what's harder? Stagnation.
Failure.
Staying in the same place. 10 years goes by. Nothing has changed.
And this is the thing. Have you ever noticed when you finally do get yourself into the gym, your first thought is, why didn't I do this when I had the idea last time? Because then I would have been so much further by now.
No one was ever upset that they started. They were upset that they didn't start sooner. So here is your flag today, sis. Start the race. We're cheering you on. Come on, don't disgrace us. Don't disgrace us.
Especially in preparation for 2022.
Absolutely.
Getting yourself in that mindset of knowing that you're not just going to make, and we are actually hoping this over your life, sis. You're not just going to make goals. You're not just going to make a vision board. You're going to execute and manifest those things. Sure. Gone are the days, like, I'm so dissatisfied with, I said I was going to do it and I didn't do it because I refused to show up all the time. Being frustrated and disappointed in yourself is the worst feeling ever. And I don't want you to feel that. We don't want you to feel that, sis. So next year, 2022, every single day, 365, we are going to show up for ourselves. Showing up is going to look different though. Sometimes it's going to look like rest. Sometimes it's going to look like serious, dedicated hard work. Other times, showing up for ourselves is going to look like me shaking my bum on a yacht in Dubai. But I'm showing up.
That's right.
Showing up.
I will show up. I will show up for that last one, boy.
But this is the thing, you have to give consistent presence and consistent work for your goals.
For sure, man.
Next year, we're going hard.
We're going hard, and you can either join us or not, but you should.
Hopefully all the things we've even spoken about this whole year has helped prepare you, Sha.
Hey,
because 2022, foot on the gas pedal.
Different beast, different energy.
Foot on the gas pedal.
Different energy. No, we can't be speaking about this in 2022. We can't.
We're getting too old for that, man.
I shan't be speaking about this. I shan't. Gave what we were supposed to give.
Well, sis, I really hope you enjoyed this episode.
We did. If you didn't, we did.
Oh, we loved it.
We loved.
This is giving me some ginger.
This is giving me some pep in my style. This is giving me some peppercorns in my step.
But listen, our 3 lessons are our 3 lessons. We hope that these lessons have helped you. But you also have a lot of life experience that we want to hear about.
That was an excellent segue.
So you share with us lessons that you have learned in your pursuit of purposes. What's been holding you back? What have you had to learn the hard way? Or what have you been really good at?
Give us radio voice. Come on. BBC Radio. Hello.
Call my line. But of course, sis, you can talk to us in the comments. Okay, here on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the sisterhood. We are growing and glowing for real. But you can also join the sisterhood and at us on Instagram to let us know what you think at To My Sisterhood. And of course, you can come and say hi to us personally and see what we are getting up to on a day-to-day basis, okay? If you want to listen to my beautiful sister over here in the pink, follow her at Renee Kapuku.
You know when the camera comes in? It's me.
When you're on a gay show.
Hi. Yeah.
But of course, you can also follow me as well at CD Boating.
We love to see it. And if you haven't already, I'm getting sick and tired. One of these days, we're going to end this with the episode and not remind you to do it. But sign up to the mailing list, www.tomysisters.com.
A lot of the girls who were at the live show got their tickets earlier than everyone else.
They did not carry
before it sold out. Because they were on the mailing list. And that's how it's going to be, sis.
That's how it's
priority access.
That's how it's going to go.
So make yourself a VIP.
That's how it's
hop on the mailing list.
That's how it's going to go. So you better hop on the mailing list.
Yeah.
And of course, follow us on the Twitters. Tweet at To My Sisterhood. But no, guys, we have enjoyed this conversation mightily much. Yeah. We will be back before you know it. You'll blink and my sisters is there again. Until then, keep glowing and growing.